Okay, public. Okay, public. Okay, community. Okay, like friends and lovers and fans and family and everything. Okay. I am here today to talk about the Odyssey 2026. The Odyssey 2026. Okay. I was going to wait on this because I really do feel like it warrants another watch. It's not even like necessarily, okay, I don't know that I feel, it's not even that I'm like, oh, it warrants another watch, but I just mean in the sense where I have a lot to say about it already. I think that my thoughts will be more refined and more prominent after another watch. And I think I actually just talked myself into doing another watch. So you know what? On that note, since we're here and we're set up, I'm actually not going to talk about the Odyssey. That's actually not what I'm going to talk about. Because you know what? Before that, I was going to talk about Love Island USA Season 8. I think this is Love Island USA Season 8. And really, in real life, that does warrant commentary. It warrants commentary in the sense that it's getting really diabolical, like all of it, like everything is getting really, really diabolical, and honestly, like it's sickening. And I was watching Love Island, and I was just primarily the entire time kind of feeling like the nature of this is, on one hand, it's like, okay, it's interesting and it's really, I think it's a special experience to essentially get to go to like sexy adult summer camp. The way that the emotional stuff happens and like all of the weird, like it does, there is a part of it. I'm not even going to get into actually like the ethics of Love Island. I quite simply can't. Like I quite simply cannot. I will say I do think there's obviously like a part of it that, you know, skews a little bit unethical. Maybe I think that there's a part of it that's a little, but then I also wonder if it's just because like we take it there. Like I wonder if in nature what the show is meant for is not supposed to actually be so sinister and diabolical, or maybe it is. Like I don't know how they produce their show, and I don't know like what sorts of things are going on behind the scenes. But yeah, and it's also interesting because I feel like in real life, and this is going to sound diabolical, Love Island and The Odyssey, my takeaway from Love Island offers a parallel, like, comparison to generally, like, my takeaways from The Odyssey. Like, they're very, the comment, my commentary versus the commentary that The Odyssey is making on the human condition, which again, like, I can't even get into that for real. I literally can't even get into it for real. I can't even get started on The Odyssey. I will get started on it. I already wrote an entire Substack about it. Who knows if I'll post it. The Substack is called The Odyssey Made Me Cry. Is anyone surprised? Like, I don't know. Like, we know I cry. We know I cry at everything, like, famously movies. That being said, my takeaway from Love Island is like, this is blah, 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 like whatever symptom of the human condition. And The Odyssey is like, no, and here, like, here's this message, blah, blah, blah. This is like, this existence and these times, like, these are a symptom of like the human condition. Like, we are having this whole experience right now. And we're having it together. Hey, and we're having it together. At the end of the day, it's, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And I have notes, and I'm going to just go through, quite honestly, all of my Love Island notes. This document is probably 10 pages long. I'm going to go through. It's going to be a speed run, essentially, I think, of just... Because I started recording all of my thoughts just from episode... Here's what happened. Here's what happened with me with Love Island. I was not watching in protest because, honestly, last season, I was really, really... I don't know if the word is disgusted and annoyed by how it went and just that whole cast and like how they did everything and just the way that they were existing. But I was just like, okay, I'm kind of turned off. I'm kind of disgusted. Like, this is at its core, this is why the internet is like poisonous. Like, that's kind of how I felt watching the last season of Love Island. I'm so sorry. No shade to my divas and no judgment. Like, if you love Love Island, at the end of the day, I did tune in for this season eventually. But when I say I started episode 1 the week of the finale, I started from episode 1 the week of the finale on Monday. And by the time the finale aired on Sunday, I was caught up. I was caught up. Speed ran the season. Actually watched it. Didn't watch it 2x speed either. Like, watched that shit. Had it on in the background. Like, had it on at work. Like, just had it on. Was on Love Island time. Was inundating myself with Love Island. Like, it's fine. So I'm like, all of this critique is like very like... It was me watching it in real time, Monday to Sunday, and then just having like all these thoughts and them just going so fast. And then also during that time, I did not consume any social media about it because I just didn't want to be influenced. I didn't want to be influenced. I didn't want to be spoiled. So I wasn't consuming any social media about it. I already wasn't, actually, I wasn't consuming social media anyway, to be honest. Now that I think about it, yeah. Now that I think about it, I was not consuming social media before Love Island, but then once I started, I was like, oh, now I have to stay off the internet because I can't have this experience tainted or like spoiled or ruined in any way. So that being said, these are like it's gonna be like a speed run, essentially, like a recap of the season with broad strokes, thoughts, and commentary. And then I think the greater message, which I will come back to, but at the end of the day, I think what I really realized about, and I don't know if this is like Gen Z, I don't know if this is, like, I don't know what this is, but... And this is where I bring it back to the Odyssey. And I can't wait to talk about the Odyssey because I'm like, and all roads are going to come back to the Odyssey. Don't even worry about it. But one of the things that I noticed I was thinking a lot about and I was just seeing a lot in this season of Love Island is like the direct impact of essentially like this surveillance state and this social police state that we have created ourselves on younger generations. Because also this cast was like mad young, which, okay, I mean, if there's gonna be anyone, I guess, to send to sexy adult summer camp, I'm not choosing 21 to 25-year-olds. I'm actually choosing 25 to 30-year-olds. If I want them to really find love, I'm choosing 25 to 30-year-olds. But, and there we go. Because then we circle back to the conversation of like, is its intended purpose for people actually to find love, or is its intended purpose like sinister and diabolical? Like, I don't know. But what I do know is it was very, very prevalent, the ways that younger people have been impacted by the internet, but specifically like socially impacted by the internet. I don't know. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is insane. Everything about all of this just is starting to feel dystopian. I'm going to talk about it when I talk about the Odyssey too, because there's more on that. Like, more on that at 11. There is so much to say too about how in the Odyssey, one of the primary points that he is making is that what have we, it's kind of just about like abandoning your humanity or abandoning yourself and what that leads to and what that looks like. And I think that Love Island, obviously on not such a macro scale, although it is an insane social experiment and certainly like should be studied in some way, shape, or form, I do think that like the what we see is just a product of like what it looks like to be so afraid to exist and to be perceived and to be judged and to like there was like so many examples of just like what it looks like seeing in real time like people pleasers like and it was so interesting. It was so interesting. I was watching it and I was like, oh, the damage. Like, oh, the damage we're going to have to undo. Like, babe, like the way that we're going to have to really like come together as a society and join hand. Like, and join hand dead ass because the girls are not okay. That's kind of how I was feeling. So, that being said, societal commentary plus Love Island commentary starts now. That's what we're doing. And if you didn't watch Love Island, then period, that's what we're going to talk about. So, yeah. So we start. First thoughts, immediately, first person on my shite list, episode 1 on my notes. First person on my shite list is Sincere. It's just like, I'm so sorry. I think like the first thing that he said when he was doing his introduction, and this immediately made me mad, and I think this speaks to what we're dealing with. Also, side note, I feel like we were dealing with an entire group of people who don't fucking read. And that's what it looks like when you don't know how to fucking read and you don't fucking read. Also, but we won't even like take it there for real. But the way that they were literally just squishing sentences together and just throwing words, it felt like word soup. Listening to them speak on Love Island, I was like, what is happening right now? What's going on? These sentences don't make sense. It was literally, it would be giving like, oh yeah, and like the eggs is there was. Like, what did he does tell you is. Okay. Like, that's what they were giving. That shit was pissing me off, too. I was mad. I was like, oh, the babies. Oh, when they talk about the babies don't read. Oh, when the school teachers get on TikTok, when the middle school teachers get on TikTok and they're like, y'all, like, we're telling you, these kids can't read. Maybe we should start hearing them. Maybe someone should start taking them more seriously. I don't know. I don't know. Like, it's not my jurisdiction. It's not my job. I don't work for any school board or anything, but I'm just like, someone should actually start taking that seriously because it's getting out of hand. Now, that being said, first thing Sincere says, one of the first things that Sincere says that immediately puts him on my shit list is he's talking about, I'm the type of person that if my friend stops to tie their shoe, I'm going to stop and wait for them. So is anybody normal. The fact that he said that and he used that to justify why he's a good friend and like how he's so loyal off rip, I'm like, you literally just pulled an orange out of your ass and called it an apple. Like, that's what that was giving. It was a nothing sandwich, nothing salad. You just said something. Because duh. Obviously, if I'm out with anybody and someone stops to tie their shoe, obviously, we're stopping. Obviously, we're stopping. What are we talking about? Duh. So there's that. Other intros, all of the intros were like not super memorable in my opinion. The only other one that I think I like commented on was Melanie, and how the first thing that she said was, if you call yourself a girl's girl, you're not a girl's girl. First of all, no one asked. Second of all, you ate your own words because within 2 episodes you were displaying evil criminal super villain behavior against Kata when you thought she was after your man. And I should have known, and everyone should have known, as soon as one of the first things that you said in your intro was some shit about being a girl's girl. No one even asked that. You're introducing yourself. What are we talking about? No one does that, and no one has done that. So the fact that you opened with that, I think you knew that you were finna stir some shit up and that you was really finna be showing your ass, which, on the topic of Milani and Sincere, I'm so tired of them. I don't even have, I'll go through, but like, it's just like, I will say, I think Melanie's character arc throughout the season, because I speed ran it and it was so condensed, I'm like, okay, this is fine. Her character arc throughout the season, I think being so, like, I think something clicked in her brain by the end of it. I don't know how she's doing now. I haven't really consumed any post Love Island, like post Villa content at all, so that I could also make in my rehashing of all of it, so that I could make like predictions and like say where I think they're headed, like on their different paths. That being said though, taking it coherently, like, I will say I think that like Melanie's, I do think she started with some shit that she did not have in her brain, and by the end of it, like, something was like, there were some things like sparking, like two little brain cells were, something was happening, and I could tell that something was happening behind her eyes. She was nuts at the beginning, yes, but also she was being lied to by an evil Oompa Loompa of a man. So it's kind of just like when you're being lied to by Maui Jr., like, what really can you do? Also, Sincere, oh my gosh, Sincere and his hair were pissing me off so bad. Sincere and his hair were pissing me off so bad. Every time it was down, I was like, you look like somebody's badass little cousin who deserves to get popped. Like your butt popped, like actually in real life. So, yeah. Immediately out the bat, Melanie crash out, we see it's fine. It's like, or it's fine. I don't know. I don't know that it's fine, but we'll get there. I think that, like, of these initial cast members that we're seeing, so I'm like, okay, Trinity Bryce, Melanie and Sincere, Casey and Anaya from the jump, and we know where it ended up. From jump, I was not convinced. I wasn't convinced. I'm so sorry. I think Casey liked Anaya. I think Anaya in real life, and because I haven't consumed anything of these people's outside lives, because I haven't consumed anything about these people outside lives, I'm going to say something. Who knows if it's true or not? This is me making a guess / this is just me making a prediction and a guess based off of like her behavior and what I saw. Genuinely in real life, I think Anaya is the type of black woman that don't date black men. That's not my business, and that's just not my business. It's just absolutely not. Nothing further on that, but it was almost immediate to me. And when I say black men, I do mean like dark-skinned black men like Casey, like brown-skinned chocolate black men like Casey. Like, I think that Sincere is like a little ethnically fruit, like he's like an ethnicity salad. Like, no one really knows, you don't really know. And I do think that that's different than liking black men. Like, I think liking ethnic is different from liking black men. And I think this is a conversation that happens in the black community all the time. I don't think Anaya was fucking with him off rip. I think Anaya eventually convinced herself. And I also think that she really liked the idea of being liked. Who doesn't? Let's start there, which was another symptom of this whole entire, in this whole entire situation, this whole cast. I think what it really displayed was that, like, at the end of the day, the generation is so, like, our generation is so lonely that it's like we are absolutely deluding ourselves into believing that we are, like, obsessed with and, like, attached to these people, when I think the truth is that what we are actually attached to is, like, either, like, attention attention, period, point blank. Let's stop there, because this is an attention economy. So we're attached to attention. We are. There is some form of attachment to attention in general. I also think that, like, the like, this concept of I like someone because they like me, that's kind of always been the case. And I think that is, for a lot of reasons, why so many Like, we have this whole conversation all the time about, like, beautiful men and, like, or beautiful women and, like, medium ugly to ugly men and, like, blase, blase, blah. And I think as women, it is pretty common to swoon over the first sign of respectable interest that you get from a man, respectable within your standards, whatever that looks like for you. Literally dead ass, like dead ass, whatever that looks like for you, it looks different for us all. But I think that, like, when you receive that sort of attention from someone and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, wow, this person really likes me, and you know what? I like you because you like me. That's a thing. That's a very, very, very real thing. I've seen so many of my sisters, including myself, like, fall to that. And that's like a whole other conversation. Like, that's a different conversation. That being said, from the jump, Anaya was not fucking with Casey, and I knew that. Knew she wasn't. So when we got to her painful crash out where she fell to her knees and I wanted to snatch her by her wig, dead ass, and say, girl, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Like, stand up, stand up, stand up after this man just literally, like, has been dogging you out so bad. Which, whole other thing that's gonna make me mad is talking about KC and, like, the toxic black masculinity industrial complex and how that shit needs, oh my God, like, literally that shit needs, I don't even know, like, oh my gosh. Because Casey's behavior, Sincere's behavior, Corbin's behavior, but I'm not even going to sit in y'all face and pretend Corbin wasn't my favorite character, because I'm talking about characters. At this point, when I'm talking about Love Island, like, yes, I'm talking about real people. Please know the way that I'm addressing them is as characters. I'm like, this was my favorite character on the show. So sorry. But we'll get there and we'll get to why. Casey and Anaya didn't believe it from the start. Zach and Kata. Zach, who was Zach initially paired with? Oh, Kenzie. Well, yes, and he was not fucking with her. He wasn't fucking with her, and he, as soon as he saw Kata, clung. Zach, though, also might need his butt popped for a different reason, because to look the way that you look, literally like ancient Greek something, you had a statue of you. Like, there is a statue of him somewhere in society, like in some ruins, and it literally looks like him. I'm knowing. We should all know. Like, it's obvious. To look the way that you look and act the way that you act, it's clear that someone has hurt you. The same thing could be said about Milani. To look the way that you look and act the way that you act. But we kind of knew immediately that Milani had been hurt real bad, because you know what? One of the first things that she said is, I have a lot of trust issues. Okay. And you know what? I don't know if Sincere and his evil, evil, evil little man brain was just like, okay, because I don't know if he like knows ball for real, and he just was like, I know what I can do with this. I can work with this. You got trust issues, you say? Come here. Like, let me tell you something. Come here real quick. Like, let me show you something. Let me show you actually an experience that you won't forget, that none of us will forget. That will fuck up your feng shui so royally that you completely, like, regress to a child, which we'll get to, and are, like, so emotionally damaged from that, like, it's just gonna be something like the likes of which you've never seen. If you want to talk about trust issues, like, I don't know what was happening in Sincere's brain, but whatever. I think that in general, oh, and also, like, I guess Bryce and Trinity, here's the thing about Bryce and Trinity. I'm not saying that I don't believe it. The thing is, I think that it's more of that, like, the loneliness combined with the I like you because you like me. I think that is what happened with Trinity. I think she was feeling that way when old dude came in and she was like, da-da-da, I miss Bryce. Like, yes, like, period. She got her taste, she got her tea, and she realized, no, I have this thing. I think in general, there's like a broader conversation to be had about what we are willing to compromise when it comes to and why. And it's not I don't say that to say like compromise is like a bad thing or a good thing. I just generally speaking mean like this idea that like you know pretty immediately what you like and what you don't like, what you want or what you don't want. Or at least like as you get older, I think it becomes like more clear, and as you have more dating experience, especially like when it comes to just romantic partnership or whatever, like it becomes very easy to like engage with someone and be like it's yes or it's no. And of course the nature of Love Island is to like try things out, and that is like the whole thing. And also the fact that they weren't doing that at all this season made me mad. Again, that's fear. That's that fear shit, like being mad scared to do anything, to look weird, look shady on TV. I think they were all entirely too aware of the fact that like they were on like and yes, obviously there's always an awareness. Yes, obviously there's always an awareness when you're on a television series that you're on a television series. Always. Same could be said of any television, the Housewives, the Kardashians, the blah, 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 whatever. I think there's a way where you exist passive, and it's sort of a passive part of your experience. And I think what we saw on Love Island with this cast was the internalization of what it looks like when you genuinely in your heart of hearts believe that what you see on the internet and what you see on television is real. That's what it was giving, and that's how they were acting. Like it was very like, and there were a few characters who came in and out of that villa that I was like, oh, you're acting normal, like you're not giving like psychosis. But in that whole, the way that everyone was immediately closed off because Soul, low-key, Soul deserved better. The fact that, like, none of the bombshells really took off or got anything. Like, after Corbin and Kata, like, all the bombshells were cooked because nobody was checking for them, though, in a very real way, because everyone was kind of like, well, I just, like, I'm in this thing and I'm in this relationship. It just speaks to the fact that, like, everyone just wants a relationship so badly. And everyone just wants a connection so badly. And that's just in life. Like, it's not exclusive to Love Island. Yes, like, y'all were braver with it. For real, y'all were braver with it. Y'all was on TV in a bikini. I'm not going to be on TV in a bikini. But it's like, that experience and that social experiment literally is showing us in real life like what it looks like when what people want more than anything is a connection, and because of that they are disregarding everything else. They're just not existing in a way. It's like, gosh, it's just so interesting. This concept was like the concept of the Odyssey, but it's a thing that I've been really trying to train myself to be very discerning with, because I know that as the internet and social media become more integrated into like my life personally, right, it's going to be harder for me to remain evenly keeled when it comes to the value that I'm assigning to what I'm taking in. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that it's like important to be aware of. Oh my gosh, I can't even like think about too hard or imagine the ways in which this like Love Island cast are going to be, because already you could tell going in that they're all hyper aware of this whole new culture where it's like, I just like can't be perceived as the bad guy or like canceled or this. Like, there was, oh my gosh, no accountability by damn near anybody except low-key, except Corbin. Like, low-key for real, but y'all don't want to hear that though. Low-key. The only one who was taking accountability on some real shit, oh my gosh, because the way my girl Kenzie was dodging accountability, diabolical. Sincere, fake accountability. Like, it's not even like fake. It was just like just nothing. His words were nothing, like literally nothing words. He literally was like opening his mouth and being like, yes, I understand. And but it's literally like every single thing that Sincere said was just wind. That is literally how his whole entire, that was crazy. That was crazy to watch. Milani, you know, okay, sure. I think accountability, yeah, she was like, in the way that you could tell she was having some thoughts. Like, there were definitely thoughts happening behind her eyes. Anaya, because when your mom came in and checked you for being an enabler, when your mom came in and checked you for being dishonest and being an enabler, you should have got whooped sooner for that. You should have got whooped sooner for that, because Miss I'll tell anyone anything they want to hear. Nobody likes Miss I'll tell anyone anything they want to hear. Please work on that, because that's just not sustainable. Like, that's just, we must operate in a different way. Like, we literally must operate in a different way. So, yeah, oh my gosh. And then Casey, so annoying how every time anything happened, and this, again, this is the black masculinity. This is the black masculinity. And the thing about black masculinity, through no fault of their own, I genuinely think that the way that black men, as I'm not going to like generalize, but I'm going to say what I believe the intent is by the systems that be, and like the American system, I really genuinely think it is created to create these, like, it is set up in a way where you essentially create these like broken black homes and like broken black families, or you're trying to, and you're criminalizing everything that these people do, except like, no, you're criminalizing everything that they do, from like sleeping to eating to breathing, and you're creating these beings that are like very, very fragile, very tightly wound, generationally traumatized, and insane like ways that like a lot of us just genuinely can't even process, myself included. But like, well, actually, because black womanhood is a whole separate thing, but like black manhood is just like a whole separate thing. It's just entirely too much. It's entirely too much. I can't even get into it right now. That being said, I think there is a little bit, and this is me with my tinfoil hat on, and you don't have to drink the Kool-Aid if you don't want to. Let's start there. I think that there is like an intention to create these beings that are easily targetable for your system and for you to maintain power and control. And by that I mean, you're essentially like training a dog, and this is just a metaphor. You're essentially like training a dog to attack people, to be hypersensitive to like eye contact, to be, carnivorous, to be like, you are training a dog. And maybe like some things about a dog are inherently dog things, but you're also enhancing and reinforcing this behavior in dogs over generations. And then you put that dog in an environment where dogs who act like dogs, criticized, scrutinized, overly watched and picked apart, and kind of already like characterized in society as like dogs. And then on top of that, you're putting them in an environment then, aka specifically, like, let's talk about the United States of America. You're putting them in a circumstance where also then a dog acting the way that it was literally trained to act, aka like biting on sight, making eye contact and growling, blah, blah, like doing all of these things, is criminalized, which then, so the dog is getting punished every single time it does anything that it was trained to do. And now this dog is like confused and afraid to like, but it has an urge to like protect itself and do like it's just so like convoluted and like disgusting. And I think that watching Casey was difficult because it's just so obvious that like he's so afraid of something. And that's, I mean, honestly, like that was with all of the cast. With Sincere, it was well that honestly, and that was everybody except like Corbin and Parmita, which we'll get to Corbin and Parmita, but it's just like they all had this like fear that was just so deep, that was just so visible, that I was like, and you can't live like this. And then with Casey, it's unfortunate because like, you know, like you can just tell when someone grew up a certain way or like faced certain things or was disciplined a certain way, whatever. Like you can tell when someone was raised a certain way. And then those behaviors come out, but then he's also a young man trying to like navigate this like one beautiful life, and he's also a young man trying to navigate this like society, and he's also like wanting to be seen the way that we all want to be seen, wanting to be picked the way that we all want to be picked, obviously like healing some wounds from his maybe appearance or his physical traits or his like masculinity being like called into question. And it's like the like weird thing, and I do this too in a completely different way and like on a different scale, but it's like it's this thing where like you lash out and then you like hate yourself for lashing out, and then you like feel bad about lashing out, and then you kind of cringe, and then you're kind of like like I don't know, like I like, you know, like it's just like, so what a confusing character. Like really what a confusing character to me. I do think it obviously is everyone's responsibility like once they enter into adulthood to heal themselves in the ways that they, if they have the tools and if they have like the access. I think that that's just a responsibility as an adult eventually to take your life, your this, your that into your own hands and to like act in ways that honor yourself. And the thing that is so unfortunate too about Casey is that like you could tell that it's almost like it's like, you know, deep down you're not honoring yourself when you're like disrespecting a woman or you're acting like this or you're acting like that. And then it's like, but you disregard that and you kind of forget about it for the sake of like being like buddy buddy or engaging in this guy talk or doing this or doing that. And it's just like, why? Like, why? And men, that's a man thing in general. Well, and because like we always do kind of come back to this concept of like the patriarchy affects us all and it just ruins everybody's life. But yeah, literally. So let's see, I've gone down the list. I've talked a little bit about Sincere Melanie. I've talked a little bit about Bryce and Trinity. Again, that's just like good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. I have nothing to say about them. They were obviously like the only ones who had it anyway. Zach and Kata, honestly, no further comment. No further comment about that right now. So, Corbin. The speaking in slow motion. And you know what? There's a world. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. And I didn't even mention who that I forgot, because I forgot they were both on there. Beatriz and Gabrielle. Like, oh, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know. Wishing them like the best, like sending love and light. Honestly, they probably lucked out not making it. Because another very interesting thing, and this is something that like I think, oh gosh, the thing about Kenzie is that she was giving like quintessential white womanhood almost to like and maybe this is more so like the white feminism thing, or like I don't know. Her whole because this is also rooted in fear, but this comes from a way, way back place. You see what I mean? Like, because her whole thing was whatever I want, I deserve to get. And I will actually just, similarly to Sincere, say whatever I need to say to make that happen. And then sort of find a way to like justify whatever it is. So I kind of saw this at the very beginning because the thing about Kenzie is that like one thing that I noticed immediately that I did take notes on is that it was literally like every time someone said anything, she said same. I'm sure someone has spoken on this before. I'm sure that someone has talked about like I think I did hear out somewhere like someone be like, "Well, girl, like when he was a surfer, you wanted to be a surfer. When he was a cowboy, you wanted a cowboy." Like it's just like she is like the essential I will like stars and eyes, honestly, whatever it takes to get my, in her case, like to get her smooch on, let's just leave it there. I will, yes. But then it's just like, okay, well, babe, this has like repercussions and consequences and like normal impacts on real people. You see what I mean? And then for her to always kind of come back to this place of being like, well, I'm just like doing what I came here to do. And like, it's like the accountability avoidance, which I think is a huge problem with like, I don't know. It's interesting because some corners of Gen Z are it's very hard, I think, and I notice for Gen Z to be deeply reflective about themselves, which is interesting because it's also a thing where we're all so self-centered and so selfish, but then somehow we cannot like, or and it's common that like there is no like self-reflection happening. It's just always thinking about like what has been enacted upon me or how can I, like, I know what my intentions were. And then it's also like the classic conversation of like, well, your intended impact versus your actual impact, honey baby, like sweetie diva pie, that matters. Like that does mean something. And I think that that is a concept that Gen Z has not received enough from the universe, especially because when you live in an existence like that of what we have with the internet, where you can present however you want to and you can control essentially like the footprint and the impact and the influence and the like, all of it is like controllable to a degree. You're not really, I think, able to in real time wrestle with, or it's not often that like we're having experiences where we're kind of just like we say da 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 or we do da 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 da, or like what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? I think it's a thing where one, because everything is being processed in real time and like so fast, you do something, someone's like, I didn't like that. You can immediately be like, okay, either sorry or like, I didn't mean it like that. And then it just passes. And there is no need to like, it's just like wiped. Like, it's literally like Men in Black, like memory wipe your shit. And then you just move on to the next. I don't think there's enough internalization or enough, and I know ruminating is not always like not always the best. And actually famously like ruminating on things is bad, but some things in fact do require being thought about and like do require like deep thinking and like deep reflection afterward. And that's just not possible, as we know, when you are just existing on a phone and on social media all the time. You're not deeply reflecting because you're too busy consuming and then trying to curate and cultivate your image to be what you think is going to be popular, successful, received well. And so then there's like this confusion when what you think is going to be received well is not received well. which was Kenzie's like song and dance. It's just like, oh, like it's just a thing. It's a thing. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know what I'm talking about. And that's okay too. It's just something to think about at the end of the day. And the point that I'm trying to make is that there are things that just need to be thought about. And because everything is so digital and it's not prioritized to make strong, real connections. Because also another thing with this whole Love Island season and this whole Love Island cast is just like the problem with like wanting to just like being so susceptible to like having everything be fast and easy and accessible all the time is that like you're wanting a connection that feels like a real, loving, romantic, like 20-year marriage sort of like spark true love connection when you're not even willing to I guess it's not even that you're not willing to. I think, and this is the problem too. This is why I think dating apps are evil and diabolical, because there is nothing built. There is no foundation for the relationship. There is no, you just put together a profile, a shallow version of yourself. Someone liked the surface and then you liked their surface, and then it's like it's a meeting. It starts from a shallow place. You know what I mean? And like when you start from a shallow place, you can't expect deep results. Like that's just not, it's just not how, or when you start from a place where your priorities are misaligned or your values are misaligned, but because you just want this thing so bad, it's like everyone just wants to skip to the ending and skip to the happy ending. And I get it, and like myself included, like famously, like as girl who wants relationship and wants to be in a relationship at this point in her life, it's just like, yes, I understand the desire for it, but there is one, just deep work required on like to be done on self, and two, deep work required when it comes to connecting with another person that is like foundational in a way that should be obvious to maintaining a long-standing romantic connection or relationship, or a really deep and meaningful connection in general, I think, with like anybody, but especially like romantically. Although I will say, like, I do think that that's something that's generally applicable to friendships and communities. And I have this whole other, and this is actually like a side tangent too, and this kind of does go back to the behavior displayed on Love Island season 8. This does, because I've been having this like idea for a long time, and it's just mainly observation based on just like what I've seen like amongst my peers and on the internet, and with the new commodification of like social circles. Like essentially now we are commodifying being a part of a community, and like everything is a particle, everything is a this, everything is an aesthetically curated, beautiful this, that sort of experience. Everything is this and everything is niche, and everything is just like bought and sold. And even like at this point, like the concept of a third space is becoming like something to be commodified and like profitable. And it's just like, I think that the problem with that is that everyone has a community, or everyone is a part of a community, but no one feels connected. And that is like the grand thing that I think is beginning to sort of impact all of us, is this whole thing about like everyone is a part of a community, but no one feels connected. Even like when I'm listening to girls like TT talk about like not really having any friends, or like just women, people and women on the internet, and how everyone's trying to like now build something because they just want a community so bad. And then you're in the community, and it takes more to be in community than just being in a space and liking the same clothes, or being in a space and having the same taste, or being in a space and liking the same movie. Like, yes, those are great starting points for a friendship, for a relationship, for whatever. Like, common interests, great. Common interests famously are a great jumping off point. However, you can't put all of the labor of building a connection in this, like, shared illusion that you are of the same set of values and interests because you, like, both are in, like, a romance book club. You know, like, it requires then following up on that and following through on that connection and revisiting it and working on it and working with another person. You have to deal with another person and deal with the way another person operates and build that connection to have then an actual, like, deep, meaningful friendship, relationship, or whatever. If that's what you want, if that's what you're looking for, you know? And I would argue that, like, for example, like, for a long time with myself, especially, like, after moving to a new city, or I've moved to new cities a bunch, but just, like, this most recent time, just being in Texas and, like, coming to a new city and my priority being, like, okay, like, I want to meet as many people as possible, and then realizing kind of that the truth was that I was not, like, following up on these. So then I would, like, be in these spaces and I'd have a bunch of acquaintances and it was fine, but I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't happy until I started revisiting relationships and revisiting people and putting in the labor that it takes to build a strong and healthy friendship, or a good foundation for a friendship, so that, like, yes, like, maybe when I'm in a community space, I'm not surrounded by people that I know, but I know two people really very well. And I trust that they fuck with me in a real way, that they like me, and that they know me. You know what I mean? And this takes time. And time, famously, is something that, like, we don't really realize that we have, I think, as much now in the, like, digital era. But it's like, it's something that we have so much of. And, like, famously, like, we give away so much of it for free to things like scrolling and, like, being on the internet and doing whatever. And then it's just like, oh my gosh. And obviously, also, that makes it move way faster. So you're less sitting in these moments and feeling present and feeling this, which honestly, Love Island did eat with the no phones thing. And it did eat with, like, kind of forcing these people to be present with each other. But I think the thing that sort of soils that is, like, the consistent awareness of the cameras. And then that kind of, like, takes you out of it and reminds you, oh, there's going to be an internet to answer to for this. And that's, like, the great discrepancy between, like, why Love Island, like, it's like the discrepancy between, like, or, like, how weird I think it is that they, like, do this thing where they're like, okay, yes, no phones and no internet, but then also, like, be super social aware of, like, the fact that, like, there will be hell to pay and social media is real. And, like, this is a thing to always be thinking about constantly. Which also the reality stars of old, like, didn't have that same experience. Like, yeah, it was TV, but it was, like, it was just different. And, like, the internet of it all is, like, a whole thing. So that being said, wow, because I meant to talk about Love Island, and I did mean to talk about Love Island. I don't know, like, that just kind of digressed into something else, but the point is, well, no, actually, back to Love Island. You know what? Because back to Love Island, because at the end of the day, like, I do actually have thoughts on the show and thoughts on the cast that I want to share. So we're gonna, like, literally reel it all the way back in with just some favorite moments, favorite quotes, and then, like, favorite characters. I have a top 5 of just characters in general from this season. And then what I think just about, I'm just going to say, like, what I think, where I think my top 5 are headed. That's what we're going to talk about. So, okay. I wrote a lot about sincere being on bad behavior and retaliatory. And at the end of the day, like, we know any person who is retaliatory is already dangerous, but a retaliatory man and a liar, annoying. Yeah, I wrote here, anyway, the future is dark. Everyone on this show literally looks like National Geographic Perfect Human of 2050. And, like, if it's going to be a nation of ethnically ambiguous light skins acting like this, I fear we're in danger. And that's all I really have to say. And that's really all I have to say about that. Milani saying, I can't overreact. Why would I? Right after she just sobbed in real life. Hilarious. Everyone at some point being like, oh, I hate doing this shit. I hate doing this two-faced shit. I hate doing shit like this. I hate doing shit like this. Y'all are literally on Love Island. You signed up for it. But okay. You kissed sincere. And see what I mean? Because this is evil. You kissed 4 times. That's a connection. And sincere saying a connection. That might be a connection to you, but that's not a connection to me. There will be... All I have to say, sincere, is that if you don't make it right, hell is hot. Like, that's literally all I have to say about that, is that if you don't make it right, hell is hot. Milani on mean girl behavior, whatever. Surprising to no one, Kata was, like, pretty much on good behavior and good vibes the entire time, which makes sense, because when you look like that, you can be on good vibes and good behavior. Like, I mean, when you look like that and your man also looks like that, Kata, she was having her moment. I'm like speed running my notes now, because I'm realizing that I accidentally digressed too hard, too close to the sun. Caleb is almost too young to be messy. He's just an unproblematic little guy. That's my whole general feeling about Caleb. That is all I'll say about Caleb. That's it. Just like it was just like, okay, like, get him, somebody send him home. Like, somebody, I literally was like, somebody send him back to his mom, please. Corbin, genuinely hilarious. And I'll get there. I will get there, because I talk about him being my favorite character. Bryce saying, just because he's promiscuous doesn't mean he's not capable of loving someone. That was an insane thing to say, and I don't even think... The thing is, I know he believed that, and it's not even that that's a lie, but the fact that you said those words out your mouth in full seriousness and was dead ass, whoopings. Whoopings all around. Zach, like... Nigga, like, I literally so many times wanted to whoop Zach. Like, he deserves what some would call, like, a mollywop. Zach, I will say, actually, does deserve in real life what some would call a mollywop. Definitively the person who is, like, would say something stupid and annoying for no reason. Like, he just talked so crazy out the side of his little stupid perfect neck that I was like, enough out of you. I literally want to pinch your lips like the way that Squidward pinched SpongeBob's lips. So yeah, that Bryce saying, who asked this? Oh, this girl in Casa Amor saying, have you had Haitian food? And Bryce saying, I've had Haitian food in passing. What does that mean? My king. Like, my king, literally, what does that mean? You're just saying shit. Okay. TT and Casey within 24 hours of meeting, having a conversation that says, I just feel like we're having a disagreement right now and you're not hearing my side. After 24 hours, run for the hills. Like, run for the hills. I'm so sorry. Is this Bad Girls Club? Anaya? Because you know what? That's you saying that to TT when TT was mad is the same reason that I don't think you fuck with black men. That's all I'll say about that. Now, still you rise, I guess. The fact even that that tattoo exists, nothing is ever going to be worse than Ace having Ace tattoo. Actually, nothing is ever going to be worse than Taylor having like ape shall not harm ape or ape shall not kill ape or whatever the fuck he had on his chest last season. And also Ace's back tattoo that just said his name, like a big ass name tag on his back. That was disgusting and diabolical. But Still I Rise was definitely like, that was something. And Trinity, after they all got on Casey's head, saying, still you rise, I guess. That was good television. Like, I'm so sorry. That was giving like, that was good TV. I'm not even gonna hold you. It was almost too much. It was almost a little too like Flavor of Love. Like, it was all of that. But Still You Rise, I guess, was a line. That was a line. Melanie saying there's strong sisterhood in this villa. Y'all was not ever serving sisterhood in that villa, but like, okay, per. Gall. Almost forgot about him because that's how. But I will say, when Jen and him sat down and he had the nerve to sit in her face and say, you're being aggressive right now, that whole conversation, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this shit is literally giving me, like, this is like, I like have to turn away from what's happening right now. This is literally like coming from a really deep place inside. This is just coming from a deep place inside. And that deeply disturbed place is literally like the men of Los Angeles, California, the woke men of society in general, y'all are going to answer for that one day because that was really crazy. Like that like you're being aggressive line and that like whole like way he just tried to talk. The way that he spoke to her in that interaction was like literally like it could not have been scripted. I'm just saying. It just couldn't have even been scripted. So it sent a shudder down my spine. Dylan, overall review on Dylan, Joe Goldberg. When he cried, that was sinister and evil and diabolical. I really do think that was evil and sinister and diabolical. Soul deserved better. That's all I'll say about Soul. Kenzie saying a kiss is like a handshake. And Still You Rise, I guess, Kenzie. Like, and Still You Rise, because the way that she kept coming back to a kiss is like a handshake was like, and you believe what you're saying, so you believe what you're saying. And shit else really don't matter as long as you believe what you're saying. I think toward the end of the season, the place that we got to with Melanie was that, because after movie night, like something, I really do think something broke in her during movie night. And then I think she was fully delusional until her mama and her sister came up in there and were like, you need to open your eyes. And I think that almost like brought her out of her, like, because after that movie night meltdown, the thing is, when you have a huge meltdown like that, you enter like a different headspace immediately after. Melanie was in a different headspace. I think she was like literally like floating on a cloud, like living in an island, dead ass, when she was like back with Sincere and blah, blah, blah. Her mom and her sister came back. She cried more after that when she was like and I don't care. And if I look stupid, I look stupid. You already knew you looked stupid. There was no, like, she was past the point of no return. And in that, I mean, by that point, I think she just decided the only way out is through. But I will say from that point, it did seem like she was checked out. And I honestly think that that girl just needed to go home, and I'm glad she's there now. And I hope that people are like really like speaking life into her and putting hands on her, because that's just what she needed. I think, and this is basically what I talked about. But this was one of my notes from post like the big dump right before the finale, right? Here's the thing about the whole cast. I feel like they got their shit rocked in 4K. And I think because of this generation and the internet of it all, the way people are self-censoring and always being told like what makes you a good person versus what doesn't, this whole concept of like being embarrassed and wanting to be better is interesting, because on one hand, I totally do peg Sincere as like a wellness and journaling type, if not performatively. And I think I can see a world where he was like, oh shit, am I presenting liar and presenting dickhead? And realizing that he didn't want to do that. And I feel like because all of these young men are like literally under the age of 24 and having their brain chemistry changed in the way that one's brain chemistry is literally changed when you have an experience like going on Love Island, it's, I don't know. I think that like it's interesting because watching them have these character arcs, because it really was giving like they came in on like don't give a fuck, like they came in on like I'm gonna act an ass. And it feels like post big dump, post movie night, like post everything, like if the like fame, the short-lived minuscule fame that they get from being on Love Island doesn't get to their head, I can see them all being fixable with therapy. Easy. That's all. That's what I wrote about that. You know, and on that note, Carl saying in Chinese, there's a saying about how it's easier to move a mountain than it is to move a person, or than it is to change a person. Yeah, I was fucking with that. Carl. I can't. Kata whole time just spent the whole time just making herself mad. Kata just spent the whole time making herself mad, and I get it. Hey, when everything's going perfect, you have to kind of find reasons to make yourself mad. Now, Zach was also being antagonistic, and trust, like, something's gonna deal with Zach. He's dealing with himself because I fear he has like crippling social anxiety and feels very like insecure, and like he just has like little boy, like little brother energy, but it's like little brother who could never really live up to big brother energy. So I'm like, he is being dealt with by like forces beyond his control, I fear. That being said, though, like I do think that like Kata was like taking herself there, and that's okay because she had to take herself there. It was just it was just and it was a season, that's for sure. So that being said, just my top 5 characters. And then I honestly think this whole episode kind of counted as recently viewed. And Man Crush Monday and Woman Crush Wednesday, low key, because I was just talking about the Islanders the entire time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go season's top characters. And it's actually not going to be in a specific order. I'm not doing a specific order, actually. I decided. Trinity, just on good vibes. Just on good vibes alone. Alternative, I love her style. I love that she has something happening in her head with her vision. And it's whatever. And I knew when she put the, like, whiteout in her hair to make skunk stripes. And it wasn't whiteout. I don't know what it was. But when she did that, I was like, period, per. My friend and I literally had a conversation about it. Also, nobody said things that she said. Like, she obviously comes from a very specific background. And honestly, like, she had a plethora of one-liners that were iconic. Like, literally, like, just iconic one-liners. Girl's girl, loyal and funny. And deals out reads kind of where they need to be dealt. I don't really think anyone was reading the way that people needed to be read in that villa. Like, nobody was like in they ass for real. And I will say, I think they all needed someone in their ass bad. Because again, it was that whole like hot potato accountability, hot potato. Oh my gosh. Like, shift the blame, hot potato. Like, literally, like, oh, they were so annoying up in there. And that's just a product. That's just a product. That's what internet culture is doing. And it was a hard watch because of that. So Trinity, Kata, how could Kata not be there? Just on good vibes. That's it. Just on good vibes. Stunning. And that's all I'll say about that. Parmita, now. Yeah, Parmita. Parmita was there because, to be honest, she was in there acting her age. 27, being 27. She was walking Corbin like a dog, as she should have been. She was 27, acting 27. She was acting her age. She was in that villa giving Big Mama. None of them were giving Big Mama. Everybody was giving, like, college freshman tea. And Parmita was like, and I have to wrangle the campers. Like, if Love Island is adult sexy summer camp, Parmita was a camp counselor and everybody in there was a camper. And she was like, hey, y'all got to get this shit together for real, for real, for real. I'm going to be so real. Like, we got to get this shit together bad. So Parmita, Corbin. In my brain, Corbin was the court jester. Did he say and do things that, generally speaking, were awful-ish? Yes. 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 That being said, though, I know he was being true to himself for real. And he was the only one. Now, the thing is, when you look that way, and you've probably always looked that way, and you have never met an obstacle that you could not conquer, like, Corbin was honestly, I hate to say it, I'm not actually, and I'm not even gonna give him props. I hate to say it, and I'm not even, like, gonna give him props. Like, I'm not even gonna give him props. What I wrote about Corbin is, one, he's funny as fuck. Okay? Let's start there. He's funny as fuck. And you know what? He stood on business. He said a bunch of crazy shit. And he was like, I did say crazy shit. And I'm sorry for that. He took every single lashing that he got and never got defensive. Fuckboy general for life. And honestly, I think the truth about Corbin is that he's gonna spend... I think the truth about Corbin, for real, is that because he was acting in such a way where he was just taking those hits on the chin too well, in a way where it's like, I'm used to eating shit because I act in a way that's not, like, socially acceptable. People eat me up for it and I don't give a fuck, still I rise. Like, that's literally what Corbin was giving in practice. And I think because of that, I see a reality, seriously speaking, where Corbin spends probably the next 5 to 10 years being, like, the fuckboy general. If him and Parmita break up, actually, even if he stays with Parmita, next 5 to 10 years, fuckboy general. Corrupting the youth, ruining lives, doing the thing. I'll say this is contingent upon a breakup with Parmita. I can see him doing 5 to 10 and really putting in that time and getting those reps as, like, a fuckboy in real life. However, I think after getting pied in the face a few times, I can see a world where, like, he has his life transformed by a woman, maybe it'll be Parmita, maybe it won't be, but I do see a world where, like, after, like, let's call it 6 years, and maybe after, like, several pies in the face and several, like, really eating it and taking shit on the chin, his life is gonna get changed. Like, something's gonna happen to him, and he's gonna be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And probably around age 32, he is gonna re-enter society as a stand-up guy. He's 22 right now, so that's still 10 years out for him. Okay? I can see a world where he re-enters society and he is actually like a stand-up guy. Won't lie. And I fear, like, with the energy that he already has, I'm like, oh, you might be bigger and badder. Like, I don't know. Did I absolutely want to whoop him? Yes. But the thing is, he got whooped. He got lashings. Corbin is the only one who got whooped on that show for real and was just like, no, yeah, and you ate me up. Yes, and you ate me up. You know what? Yeah, and I'll shut the fuck up because you know what, you ate me up. Like, he didn't try to turn it around on nobody. He didn't say, what the fuck are you talking about? He literally was like, they were doing that fuck ass challenge with the frosting, and he literally, like, had his, like, mouth open. Like, literally, like, he was like, you know what, and I deserve this. I need to just take this. And I'm just saying, that brain versus, like, the Casey brain, where you're turning your face, because you can't even take the whooping you deserve. You can't even take the whooping you deserve. Because, Casey, you're going to be dealt with in a different way, hun. You're going to be dealt with in a different way. And TT might be the one to do the dealing. I don't know. So, yeah. Corbin and then Bryce. Those are my favorites. Bryce snuck his way in. I think he was just giving grounded 29-year-old tea. And I think he did add an element of normal to whatever the fuck was going on with all of the under 25s in that show. So, yeah. That being said, for my top 5 only, we're going predictions. Trinity, wishing her love and light. I do think because she's so young, she's going to have maybe, like, a cute run with Bryce. Like, they'll have a cute, beautiful, healthy relationship. It'll be great. It'll teach her a lot. And then by the time she's, like, 26, she's going to be, like, in her baddie era. Like, she's already in her baddie era, but she's going to be, like, in her second, like, late 20s, mid to late 20s baddie era. And then she's going to have a new boo. And then she's going to be, like, she has the power, I think, to take it the distance. Similarly to, like, a Serena Page sort of character. We'll see what she makes out of it. Kata. Kata, I think, could give runway. I think Kata is tall and she's frighteningly thin. And she has an insane face card. Once someone does something to that hair, I think she's in it to win it. Like, I think I can see her runway 5 years. 5 to 10 years, I can see her runway. Or within that time. Like, within that time, I think that's, like, the trajectory that I'm seeing for Kata. Like, I feel like she could really get into a model bag and become, like, a people's princess, like, VS Angel type something. She's also just, like, funny and entertaining and loud. I do absolutely think that she is going to get tired of dealing with Zach's shit and break up with him. Can't wait. Parmita, just, like, probably somewhere with her baddie chain on. Like, I literally don't know. I feel like she's going to take kind of proper advantage of it. Maybe she'll be doing beauty. I could see Parmita doing, like, beauty and being, like, a Huda Beauty, like, well, because I forgot that Huda Beauty did a thing with Huda, and that was kind of a little bit of a downfall for them, but I could see her being, like, somebody's, like, face of something cosmetic or something Gymshark or something, like, fitness influencer, like, tease, and, like, still doing that. I do think she is going to be married with kids, and I don't think it's going to be to Corbin, and I do think that's happening for her within the next 5 to 10 years. Within the next 5 years. Because she's already 27, I'm thinking for her it's going to be married with kids in 5 years, because I think she's going to have some sort of, like, something's going to happen in her brain, and she's going to be like, and maybe it'll even be, like, a relationship with a Corbin, and she's going to be like, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. I'm waking it up and I deserve better. And then a man with a lot of money is going to come and like sweep her off of her feet. And she's going to be like, and you know what? Yeah, I'm tired of fighting the fight. Yes. Man with a lot of money. And then she's going to pop out a baby. That's my theory. With Corbin, I just said what I think his future looks like. And then with Bryce, no thoughts. No thoughts on that, actually. I really don't have too much on Bryce. But yeah, that being said, this was so long. And I didn't even, when I tell y'all, I didn't even touch the surface. But I will say that I think the benefit of doing it in this way with the whole season of Love Island is that, like, we already know what happened. I was having responses in real time, but I wasn't even having them with everybody else at the same time anyway. So it's like, I do think taking it in like that, like eating it like a foot-long sub and then talking about the foot-long sub I just ate was a better approach for me. But yeah, and I never even talked about like why I decided to watch it. Because I remember saying like, yeah, I wasn't watching it as a form of protest. I think I just decided to watch it because I was like, I think it would be smart to be able to like chime in on the conversation a little bit, just in case it comes up. And also, who doesn't like being able to chime in on the conversation a little bit? So yeah, and I watched it last season, and honestly, like, yeah. So anyway, that being said, man, that was a ride. It's been an hour and a half that I've been sitting here. And I'm hungry, and I'm gonna go to Wingstop, honestly, and get some chicken wings. So, yeah. For chill advice, getting it together at gmail.com. For, general inquiries, I guess, also getting it together at gmail.com. For the pod on Instagram, it's at Milani has a podcast. For my Substack, it's at Not Milani, and the publication is called Not a Diary on Substack. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, like literally, like eat my honey bun. Like I don't even know, but enjoy the rest of your week, the rest of your weekend. Like loving you, missing you, really want to kissing you. Like I don't know, like. Y'all hear the same song and same dance from me every time. So, yeah, we'll talk soon. And we'll talk about the Odyssey so soon. Trust. Because that's like a whole other thing. We'll get into it. Anyway, bye.